Good afternoon. I'm Suzanne Brown, Senior Vice President at the Longview Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to the virtual Business After Hours hosted by Texana Bank. We are glad that you've joined us this evening, and we invite you to take a break from your normal and experience Texana Bank. Come with us on a journey, if you will, to learn about the culture of this company and the leaders that serve in this wonderful institution. You're going to meet folks that lead this company and get to know them a little better and have a good one-on-one experience with Texana Bank. In addition, we've got a bit of a surprise for you. We have some interviews with some local coaches that are going to provide their professional tips and analysis, predictions, and wishes for the and check to see if you are registered to vote. You can also use a website that is vote.org that has a lot of useful information about voting. And hey, call me at the chamber, 903-237-4000. I'd be happy to talk to you about getting registered to vote and checking your status. It's your right as an American citizen. Let's exercise those rights. We now have a quick video to illustrate more about how effective advocacy is on behalf of business at the Longview Chamber of Commerce. So we'll roll to that. We'll see you on the other side.
When we say we're an advocate for business, what does that mean? It means that we're committed to ensuring that our community is business friendly. Let's face it, state and federal laws, city ordinances, and county regulations don't always make it easy to do business. But voicing your concerns as an individual may do very little to sway government decisions. Here's where the Chamber can help. As a member of the Chamber, you are part of a larger, stronger network. The Chamber provides a structure for you to come together with other business owners and professionals to voice your concerns and feedback on issues that matter to your business. Together, you become a unified force, and when your concerns and opinions are delivered through the powerful platform of the Chamber, it sends a stronger, louder, and more persuasive message than any single opinion could deliver on its own. We make sure that our lawmakers and local leadership know and understand how proposed or existing legislation and policies may impact the success of business in our community. We want to make it easier for you to do business. We'll do the heavy lifting. You just need to lend your voice to the conversation when policies that could hurt your business emerge. It's your membership. Own it.
Hi, welcome back to the virtual Business After Hours with Texana Bank. Hope you enjoyed that insight into advocacy and how your Longview Chamber advocates on behalf of business. I'm really honored because I have Colt Edwards with me. He's the Regional Marketing President, Senior Vice President here at Texana Bank, and we're going to get to know him a little better. I opened my first bank account, and it was a local bank. Same kind of a thing. And I remember going and opening that account and the importance and that feeling of responsibility as a young adult,
Yeah.
and starting that path towards financial responsibility,
Yeah.
and finding those friendly banks and such that will do that.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, that's something that we really take to heart. A lot of my passion and my goal for the bank is to push the employees here to be involved in the community. And you speak about those things. One of the organizations that we've partnered with here in town is Hardisons, and we
Yes.
actually go help them with interviews, mock interviews, to help them be prepared when they actually go sit down and interview, which is part of our regular job. So it's second nature to us. That's just a small way that we can give back. And then we also teach some financial literacy classes for them. So you know, you talk about exposing people to that. Well, that's one of the little ways that we can give back. And then some of the other organizations that we're involved with, we've got team members here that are CASA advocates. We've got Rotarians here. We have representation on the Christus Good Shepherd Guild. They're a big fundraiser here in town. We have a local adopt-a-spot, so we give back environmentally by cleaning up just some trash.
Yes.
We've got board members on Partners in Prevention, and so we are active when it comes to giving back. And that, at the heart of it, if you're not going to be a good corporate citizen, it just, I don't know. That's where my heart is, and so that's what I'm going to push everyone to do.
You know, and that's particularly as newer generations are coming up, and particularly as we're going through, we're going through crises throughout 2020. That's becoming even more and more important to consumers, to customers, employees, is finding those organizations and working with those organizations that have that heart, have that mission,
Yeah.
and have that purpose.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, you know, I push the relationship, because
Yes.
that's what banking is you've got to trust who you talk to. If you look at statistics, a lot of fights in relationships are based on money. And so we're involved in a very intimate part of people's lives. And so not only from a privacy standpoint, but from security and providing good advice, you know, there's a full relationship there, and we take it serious. And that's how we're going to build this bank, is on relationships.
It comes to mind a bit of marital counseling then. Might not have a certification on the wall, but a bit of that, yes.
I would say don't ask my wife. You know, so.
Is she online to interview this evening?
I hope not. Yeah, I hope not.
No, I'm sure she has good things to say. There's something I've heard about is in looking over Texana Bank's mission and values and such, is servant leadership.
Yes.
Would you speak to that in Texana Bank world?
Yeah, so kind of going back to, you know, the organizations we're involved with, we have a thing here that we call Texana Experience. And the number one thing on there is it's personal. And at the end of the day, that's where we're going to bring everything back to, is, you know, there's a personal aspect to that relationship. And, you know, a number of my customers, I talk to them after hours, I talk to them on the weekends, and I'm friends with them outside of the bank. And I think there's a certain level of, you know, that's how you build a relationship, is you have to be personal. And so when we talk about the Texana Experience, that's what we're talking about, is it's a real relationship. It's not just a, hey, you have an account here and we never talk to you. It's, you have an account here, we want to know about your family. We want to know about your pets, if you have them. You know, we want to know about life events. So if there's something going on, that we can be supportive as well, that we have an active role in that. And so I think that's what, when you talk about Texana Experience, that's what it's going to boil down to. It's very, very personal.
That's wonderful. That's when everybody knows your name.
Yeah. which is later on when we meet the coaches, you'll see that I've got some relationships with some of these guys, and that stems from a long time ago. We all kind of grew up in the same circles, and
Yes.
so banking, to me, I finally settled on it that being able to affect someone's finances positively was a way that I could really give back, since finances are so important to people. And so, my career path has brought me here, and, it has been a very good time to be here. It allows me flexibility to spend time with my family. And when we talk about core values here at the bank, we are a family first type place. And so if the employees here have something with their son or daughter at school, we expect them to be there. If it requires that I run out today to go pick up the kids from school, then I go pick up the kids from school. And so it allows me a lot of flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've heard a long time that, through tragedies through the year, you always hear about what people would have done. And you always hear family, 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 family. And
Yes.
so I try to make sure that that's first and foremost for me, that I need to be available for them. And this has allowed me that opportunity because we've got young kids. And so everyone says, hey, they'll be grown before you know it. And time is flying. But I'm grateful that I get the time to spend with them. So.
And then that reminds me, one of the things that just resonates in my life was my grandfather and my mother's side, Jones Franklin Staten. And he was in Irving at the time, and we lived in Houston growing up. And he would drive down to visit us, and we always had these talks. He would sit at the kitchen table, and he would talk about money and finances. And it wasn't any big stock market thing. It was he started off in small steps, and it was and it was during the time too when CD market rates were like 14%. It was nuts. But
people would kill for that today.
Oh, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. He would go and borrow like $500, and then he'd put it in a CD, and he would teach us this. That was his first. Getting us into thinking further ahead than just putting your money and tucking in this. Let's find a way to make money off of that. But I remember those, and it stuck with me. And it's just
we still have those
wonderful
very
things.
conversations today. I mean, we had a gentleman that we visited with earlier today, and we had very similar conversations about some long-term planning. And we're active in that. When I say it's personal, it's personal. I mean, we get in people's business, and sometimes it's uncomfortable, but you do find that your best relationships are where you know the most about people.
Yes.
And so, we try to take that to a very personal level.
What do you tell your kids?
Right now, I tell them to be nice to each other and to not yell all the time. That's what I teach them right now. We've started a little small thing at the house that we call them Pete the Cat punches, and it's if they're doing small things around the house, like if they have small chores, and if they do small things and they get a punch, and once they've got 10 punches on their card, then we take that and allow them to go to the store, and if they want to save it, they can save it and use it later. But it's an opportunity for them to slowly learn, hey, there's behaviors that will produce results at the end, and if I like those results, then I'll keep doing these behaviors. And so I'm sure at some point that will change into more of an allowance to some sort, and that we, for me, I'll of course set up savings accounts for them, make them save and do all that. But
Yes.
Right now it's just trying to wrangle the mess, and it's fun, but it's a mess. So.
Yeah, we've gone to a whole new level of family togetherness, but it's messy, but it's also wonderful, all in the same fell swoop.
Yep.
Yes.
I agree.
Colt, you are a delight to talk to. You really are. I understand that you touched on this, but you have personal history with one of the coaches that we're going to hear an interview with. Would you expound on that?
Well, we'll hear, once we get into the video, I'll ask the coaches, if I got to play for them, where would they let me play? And one of my good friends decides to make a comment about some stuff that happened back a long time ago in high school. And so, but I think a lot of that stems from when we were in younger ages in middle school. I grew up in Gladewater. He grew up in Union Grove. And we beat them in everything. Like, they never beat us in any of the sports. And so, you know, it's just one of those friendships where you get a chance to take a little dig at somebody, and you do it. And so, but Coach Lane does think that he's funny at times. And so, you know, after we do the videos, if there's any comments online that are, you know, really interested in hearing more on that story, then we can come back and share. But yes, football is a really big deal to us. Mm-hmm. I grew up playing football. I love the game. I love competition. I've got a number of friends that are coaches, and so on Friday nights we try to bounce around to different schools and watch them just in support. And so hopefully here in the next little bit, when we get a chance to interview them, that everyone will get a chance to see what the season's going to look like. I know I'm excited to talk to them a little bit, and so I'm looking forward to it. Excellent.
Well, I think then, would you mind introducing our video for the coaches?
Well, we will have Coach Lane at Pine Tree High School and Coach Griffiths at Spring Hill High School. We will be talking to them here in just a bit.
Excellent. And we will go on to that interview so that you folks can listen to this wise words, and we will see you on the other side after that video is completed.
Originally from Union Grove, Texas, which is right down the road. Grew up here in East Texas. I went to high school there. Went to college at Stephen F. Austin, which is right here down the road. I've coached my whole career in East Texas. I was at Gladewater and Gilmer and ARP, and then I got the head football coach job at Pine Tree in 2016. And my wife is from here as well. She's from Hallsville, and we've lived in this area our whole life, both of us, and this is home. We love it here.
Yep, I'm Weston Griffiths. I'm the head coach at Spring Hill. I grew up right down the road in Pittsburgh, Texas. Graduated from high school there, went to college at SFA, and I've been coaching for 10 years. I got to Spring Hill last April, came as the offensive coordinator, and took over as the head coach in May. That's kind of persona that I carry as an offensive line coach, and that's kind of what I identify with. That's still the mentality that I show up with every day, and kind of what they do is they just show up and work every single day, and that's the only way I know how to describe my style, is because, like I said, that's what I've done for 10 years, and pride myself in my work, what I do every day, and that's kind of who I am.
Oh, I think it's changed over the years. When I was a little younger, I was more about X's and O's, and kind of more about I guess you could say a player's coach. Now, in the chair that I'm in now, I'm probably the disciplinarian most of the time. I'm the guy that makes sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing, and when they're supposed to be doing it, and how they're supposed to be doing it. So I think as you grow and as you do different roles, you've got to change your coaching style, and with different kids. You know, some kids don't respond to certain things, but I would say at Pine Tree right now, I'm definitely the hammer every day, walking around, making sure everybody's doing right.
Oh, it's definitely going to be our offensive line. Our offensive line, I've got 5 guys coming back that played in 12 ball games last year, and not one of them came off the field for one snap. First time that's ever happened for me, but we're going to be really good up front. We've got a couple very good running backs, some good receivers, and but our offensive line will definitely be the strength of our team.
It better be leadership. We have a very senior-heavy football team, a group that was 8th graders when we got there, and they've always won, always been successful. And so when you have a lot of seniors, you have a chance to be special. And we have a big group and a talented group, and a group that they've really won more than any group's probably ever been through, Pine Tree. So we better have some good leadership.
Probably our needs, and I wouldn't even call them needs. I feel good about these guys. We're going to have some young guys playing on defense. We were very senior heavy on defense last year and lost some studs, especially on the defensive line. We've had some young guys that have really stepped up, and I feel very comfortable going in and playing with them on a Friday night right now. But you know, they've got a little bit to prove, but I would say that would be our need.
I don't know, we got 8 and 8 coming back on both sides of the ball, so we have a lot of our players back. I would say the biggest need for us is just going to be getting rolling again. We miss spring football, which we're used to, and so I think just getting the pads on and getting back in the swing of it's going to be the biggest need, I think, for everybody, especially for us. So we do our off season in 3 phases. In the winter, when we're done playing football, we start with phase 1. The first thing that we do is the team selects 6 captains, and then the captains draft their team based off the rest of the kids in the off-season program. And we have a point system where we hold them accountable for attendance, for going up in their weights, for having a good day in the weight room. We'll take points away for bad grades, misbehavior in the classroom, showing up late, or maybe not bringing some energy in the weight room. And so our first phase of all season is heavy lifting, 4 days a week, 1 day a week, conditioning, no speed and agility work, just straight line, running, conditioning. And it's really about growing our team. It's really about creating leadership, creating a culture of accountability, and kind of getting our core values hammered home with them. Phase 2, we roll into a little more 3 days a week in the weight room, getting outside, kind of getting them back in shape. And obviously we reselect captains and redraft teams, and it's amazing how you have different kids getting selected, and kind of it creates a new sense of urgency in our phase 2. And then phase 3, we roll into spring ball, where we're still lifting 3 days a week, but we're practicing football 3 days a week after school as well.
We're going to start off with 4 days a week in the weight room, and that's what we're doing, and we use that for the first 6 weeks. We'll have 1 day of competition. That's what we do, and we do something similar. I keep the captains and I take them, and we have a draft after school 1 day, and they pick their teams and who they want with them, and we do competition on Wednesdays. And then as we keep going, we'll be less weights and more outside. And then by the time we finish off in the spring, we don't get to do spring ball like those guys, but we work football during the athletic period. During the season, I love all good on good stuff, especially the inside run. That's my favorite part of practice. Anytime we're doing good on good, that's my favorite part of practice. And then in off season, it's going to be our competition day. I love being in the weight room. I love watching those kids do that, but there's something about watching those kids get out there and compete.
During football season, we do a 3rd down / red zone drill where we play ones versus ones, put the ball anywhere from the 25 to the 20, and we give them a 3rd down scenario, 3rd and medium to short, and we got to convert and then try to score. And it's live, it's tackle to the ground, it's competitive, it's gets the juices flowing. We start our Wednesday practice with that, and that's my favorite segment of the week because it really sets the tone for the rest of practice, and a little bragging rights for the rest of practice on whoever wins, the white team or the blue team. So off season, we do a wrestling style sock fight, and it gets pretty intense, and that's kind of where we separate the men from the boys. And you gotta, when you come to Pine Tree, you gotta get down that turf, and you gotta win a fight to earn some respect around there.
We run starting our 2nd week in school. We run a grade report on Monday, and then we pass out tutorial sheets to them that tells that athlete where to go. They'll go on Wednesdays and then Thursday mornings, and they'll go until their name's off that list.
So what we do at Pine Tree, we have tutorials starting on the 2nd week of school. We have mandatory tutorials every day after school for 30 minutes for any kids making a 75 or lower. We do daily grade checks. We do them the first one in the morning, and then my defensive coordinator is also our academic coordinator. He runs one at 3 o'clock, and so we know everybody that should be in tutorials, and we're tracking that. And then starting on the 3rd 6 weeks of the grading period, every kid that's failing a class is on the run list every day after practice until they get off the list. And 4 years ago, we had a problem with kids passing class and not taking it serious until right up in the last minute. And about 3 or 4 days of being on that list, they start figuring out, get their work turned in. And so that's how we handle grades, and we do that all year long. So we run they know at 3 o'clock that grade report's getting run, and so whatever they've got to get fixed, they better get it fixed before 3 o'clock or they're going to be on the list. I think I'd probably have to say our quarterback, DJ Freeman. He's going to be a 3-year starter. I think he's had 65 touchdowns the last 2 years. He's kind of the kid that I guess people have heard the most of. He's a very talented kid, very tough kid. He's kind of the leader of our offense, has been for the last 2 years, and will be again this year. Defensively, a kid that I think is going to surprise a lot of people is Dallas Dixon. He was a sophomore last year, played linebacker. He's up close to 210 pounds now, and he can run and hit, and he's a good kid, and he's tough, and he'll kind of be the anchor on our defense.
Corn and Curtis Crow, he started for us last year. He'll be a 3-year starter. Just going to be a stud lockdown corner out there. On the offensive side of the ball, we've got Aaron Collier playing right tackle for us. He played left tackle for us last year, but we're moving over to right, and he's been the leader of that unit all season last year. And two of our running backs, Blake Powers and Michael Mars, both are going to be very, very good, and T.J. Jones at a receiver.
Come early, be loud, go Pirates.
Amen. Be loud and go Panthers.
Suzanne Brown with the Longview Chamber of Commerce, and this is the virtual Business After Hours with Texana Bank. We hope you enjoyed that interview with Coach Lane and Coach Griffiths, and the tips and, if you will, the aspirations that they have for this upcoming year. I'm honored to introduce you to someone else that works at Texana Bank, Joanna Hodges, who is a loan officer here. Joanna, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for sponsoring this Business After Hours and allowing us to come in and dig around and poke around and find out more about Texana Bank and find out more about its people, its leaders, and learn about you.
Yes. I have actually been at Texana Bank for 11 long, maybe short years, not sure. Some days it seems real long, some days it seems real short. Started here in '09. My baby, actually he's a junior this year, he was in kindergarten when I started here 11 years ago. It's crazy to think that I've raised both of my kids through Texana Bank. They've been a huge, huge part of my family life, my kids' lives. It's been great so far. Many more to come.
You know, when we were here earlier filming your invitation, there was a phrase that was being tossed about if some, because I think your son plays football?
He does.
And if
not this year, but he does. He got an injury, but yes.
But if somebody pounces on him or happens to tackle him, what is it that you say?
I'm not too happy about it, that's for sure, about them hurting him or
Yes.
anything. Yeah, he's my baby. Football. Yeah. Don't want him out there getting pounced on.
Yeah, don't touch him.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, for sure. I'm that mom.
That's great. Would you talk to us about the products and services here at Texana Bank?
Yes. So I'm currently a loan officer. As you said, we do anything from commercial, consumer, you know, your boat, your RV, camper. We do land loans. A lot of more, you know, banks don't do land loans, but we do. But that's what we do every day. We have mortgages too. We don't do them locally. They can come in and turn all their, you know, information in, and we send it to our mortgage department. But mainly here we do commercial, consumer, just the basics, for sure. I do them all. At both branches right now.
You're bouncing between two branches to service all the loans.
That's right. Multiple hats. I couldn't say I'm just a loan officer. Some days I think I'm a teller. Terry Lynn, assistant branch manager sometimes. But always loans is my main thing though.
Excellent. And were you involved with the PPP loans that became available this past spring?
Yes, a lot.
Talk to us about that.
It was an adjustment. I'm pretty sure for small businesses it was, for us it was, but we ended up probably doing over 10 million for small businesses bank-wide. Wow. And that's including Longview, Texarkana, all of the actual branches. But here locally, we had tons of small businesses coming and saying, my bank won't do it. You know, they're not doing it, they're not doing it. Can you help me? I'm not your customer, but can you, you know. And we got a lot of new customers, a lot of new deposits through the PPP. And they've came back and, you know, thanked us, you know, because they couldn't have made their interest payments. They couldn't have made, you know, their utilities. They couldn't pay their employees. And so we were really, really able, as a small community bank, I think, we were able to help them in a huge way.
Yes, have quite an impact on the businesses, the families, and then how that trickles and interacts with all the other businesses too.
Yeah, it was huge.
That is. That's a very good story to tell.
We're still in the middle of it, but
Yes.
but we're just struggling through, getting through, helping each other, businesses as a bank. If we can't answer a question, we have them. We go research it. We go tell them where to research it. Just trying to help them.
What is it that makes you want to come to work?
Lots of things. First and foremost, it's my customers. I've been here for 11 years, so I have huge relationships with most of them. They've seen my kids grow up. They've seen me grow as a banker, as a loan officer. I went through their family events. They went through mine. But yeah, the biggest thing is my customers and my coworkers.
Yes. Yes.
But also, because just like Colt said, all through these 11 years, I've probably never hardly missed a basketball game, a football game. My daughter, she did flag. I got to go to all of their baseball, all of their events, because they're so flexible with making sure that family is number one, and that you don't ever get to look back and say, I missed out because of work. And that's probably the huge.
That is huge.
Yeah, for me, because family's everything.
Yes. Yes. That has been proven over and over again this year.
Yes. Some good, some bad, depending on how many, because them kids being at home for 5 months wasn't always the funnest. But we tolerated them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's love.
Yes.
Joanna, thank you. I understand that we have a special interview that you're going to introduce.
Yes, I do. It is going to be the wonderful Coach King with Longview High School, and I think they're known for the 2000 state champion football team also.
Yes.
So enjoy.
Well, I grew up in Louisiana, played high school football at Spring Hill High School in Spring Hill, Louisiana. Went to Northwestern State to play football for the Demons and got my degree from there and began coaching. Spent about 8 years in Louisiana before I came to Longview in 2000, and I've been at Longview High School ever since. Old school. I'm demanding, tough on players, but you can be that way at Longview, and it's probably the nicest thing about my job is the way we can coach kids at Longview, and they're tough and they're going to respond to tough coaching, but we believe in being physical, running the football and playing good defense, and it fits the personality of the kids that coach. Some of my influences, well, my high school football coach is the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing today. I thought he was just the coolest guy ever, and he really he's a guy that I've always respected and admired. And in college, Don Shouts coached me at Northwestern State. He was a great offensive line coach, went on to be a great head coach at West Monroe, Louisiana. And then, of course, Pat Collins. I can't not give credit to Coach Collins and what he's done for my professional career. He taught me more than just about being a football coach. It's about being an organizer and a facilitator, and it's more than just about the football game and football team. It's more about everybody involved, the support groups and administration and the fans and the parents and booster clubs and all those things. He was a great organizer, and and I can't forget about my parents. Both of them were educators, lifelong educators, and both went on to become principals of their school, and just understood what I was getting into, because they lived it for 40-something years, and really that's all I've ever known. But they were great role models for me. They gave me everything I needed, not necessarily everything I wanted. Well, it starts with a good running back coming back. He's going to give us a chance. Caden Meredith, he'll be a 3-year varsity player for us, and a kid that can really, he's a home run back. Of course, he's a Division I caliber back. We're talented at receiver, but we're young. We're going to have 4 new offensive linemen, and we're going to have a new quarterback. So there's a lot of inexperience on that side of the ball. And then defensively, I think the strength to what our football team's going to be is defensive team speed. We got to replace 7 of the 11 starters on that side of the ball, and but you know, I think we're making the right strides to do so. Yeah, the biggest thing is going to be depth. I mean, for us, I mean, with this COVID deal, I mean, you get a kid or a position group that gets knocked out pretty heavily and has to quarantine for 14 days. What are you going to do? I mean, do we travel more kids on the varsity to keep from that happening? But you know, it's a lot of questions going through my mind right now. But depth, lack of inexperience in key spots, as I mentioned, you know, offensive line, which is huge for any football team, in my opinion. And then quarterback position, you know, being a new guy, first time in 3 years, and you know, defensively, we've got to find some guys in the front 7, particularly the defensive line, that can be primetime players for us, because we lost some quality guys that have been starting for us the last couple of years. Typical? I forgot what that looked like. Typical. Well, for us, I mean, we go in phases. I mean, the first day after the season, we take up gear, then we go right into off season, whether that means November or January, which I'd prefer it to be January, which means we played for a long time. But we start our phase, and it'll be an initial, like an 8-week phase of nothing but off season, lifting weights, training, running. Then we get to spring break, we kind of switch gears. We start incorporating a little more football, but we still continue our strength training. And then go through spring practice, where the focus is more football and maintaining with our weights and conditioning. Give them a little bit of time off, and then we start back with our kids normally around the first week of June, go about 8 weeks during the summer with some intensive athletic performance stuff, with the strength training, running, conditioning, change of direction drills, all those things to become a better athlete. And then we roll back into the start of fall practice in August, you know, and then you switch gears again, and your focus is totally on football. But our belief is that you still need to weightlifting, and we do that at least twice a week with our varsity kids and 3 times a week with our sub-varsity kids. So I'm a big believer in that. But you can burn them out. I think you've got to switch gears, kind of make it new, keep them interested, and just understand that every phase matters, every day matters, and every year, because you see kids change from the time they step on campus as a freshman to the time they leave as a senior. And if they buy into the program, normally the results are pretty good. Inside run drill. That's my favorite drill. That's a man's drill, but it's 7-on-7 run, you know, or 9-on-9, wherever you got the drill. But it's inside run hull, and it'll check your toughness. It's kind of like being, you know, on 1 foot line, 4th and goal from 1 foot line. We're gonna see who's the toughest guy, and the toughest guy wins. Well, for us, we have a tutorial schedule that we follow during the season. Once we get out of season, the kids have an opportunity to come, you know, to do it outside of our athletic period. But typically for us, it's going to be a minimum of 2 days a week that are committed to a tutorial program or schedule, either during our athletic period or before we start practice in the afternoon. Our coaches have a position group that they do grade checks on. We have a recruiting coordinator that's responsible for making sure our kids are taking the right classes. In other words, so they can be able to qualify for Division I schools or Division II, whatever the schools are, but NCAA standards, that's the word I was looking for. But and then make sure they sign up taking the ACT, SAT tests so they can get those entrance exams taken care of to qualify. You know, for the 2021s, if we have a season, there's going to be some kids that'll have a chance to improve their stock. If we don't, you better get what you're offered now, would be my suggestion, because it's going to be it's going to be a crapshoot, to be quite honest. 22s and 23s, that's going to be different, very difficult to do, and I think some of those kids may get overlooked, particularly how they've developed from year to year. Some of them are going to have to rely on providing personal video that has them training, you know, outside of, away from a team and doing drill work, or some way for a college recruiter to evaluate them, because you're going to have to get innovative. But, you know, if we're able to have the season, whether it's 8, 10 week season or game season, I think that those younger kids will have a chance to prove themselves on the field and be recruited like a normal instant. But these 21 guys, it's gonna be catchy, and bird in the hand's better than two in the bush. So that's my advice. Go Lobos.
Welcome back to the Virtual Business After Hours with Texana Bank. I'm Suzanne Brown with the Longview Chamber of Commerce. It's always a special day when you can spend some time with Coach King and learn from his experience. So we thank him for taking time, and we thank the other coaches as well, giving us their time and their expertise. And now we're at the portion where we've got a trivia contest. So Joanna, I'm going to turn this over to you.
Yes, we've got lots of really, really good gifts. They were all donated. First, we've got Bubba's. They've got 5 or 6 gift cards they've donated. We've got a gift basket that was donated by our real estate office here locally. We have a cooler. It's actually waterproof. It's pretty cool.
Wow.
That was donated by a local mortgage company. And then Texana Bank donated the grill. And then we have a kind of like a spa service gift certificate kind of gift. And then we've got First Lights Nutrition that gave a gift certificate. And then ProFlex Gym gave a gift certificate as well. And then Spirit Nutrition gave a gift certificate. So lots of great gifts.
Wow.
But hopefully some of these trivia questions will be easy and some will be hard. We'll see. We shall see. So now we're just going to list them off. Are you going to do number 1?
I'll do number 1.
Oh, and hold on. I've messed up here. Terry Lynn Hodge.
Oh,
we need to introduce her. Yes.
Sorry, yes.
Sorry.
Thank you.
She's going to help us this evening. Y'all go ahead.
So the first question, and when you answer, if you'll just say number 1, when was the chamber incorporated?
Okay, number 2, what year was Texana Bank opened for business?
Number 3, the original name of the city of Longview.
Number 4, who founded Longview?
Number 5, tell us the 2 locations of Texana Bank in Longview, Texas.
And then what was the original name of our bank, of actual Texana Bank? It hasn't always been Texana Bank.
Oh,
Yeah.
tricky.
Yes. In what city were we originally formed? So we are in Longview. We're also in some other cities. And which one was the original?
Okay, number 8, what year did Texana Bank open in Longview?
And then number 9, what does the R in reach for the Chamber's strategic plan mean?
Number 10, what year was the Longview Chamber awarded Longview Chamber of the Year?
Okay.
Tell you what, we read through those one more time?
Okay.
Number 1, when was the Chamber incorporated?
Number 2, what year was Texana Bank opened for business?
Number 3, what was the original name for the city of Longview?
Number 4, who founded Longview?
Number 5, name both Texana Bank locations in Longview.
And number 6, sorry, what was the original name of our bank?
Number 7, in what city was the bank originally formed?
And
Texana Bank.
Oh, sorry. Number 8, what year did Texana Bank open in Longview?
Number 9, what does the R in reach for the Chamber's strategic plan mean?
And number 10, What year was the Longview Chamber awarded Longview Chamber of the Year?
So if folks will answer on Facebook in the comments section, put the number of the question and the answer.
Yes. And then all prizes we'll do this from now until 10 o'clock in the morning. And then if you win, you pick it up here at 3814 Gilmore Road, our Spring Hill location.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, good luck to everybody out there.
Yes.
These are some good questions.
I think so.
And I think as part of wrapping up, we were going to have Colt come through, and he's got a special message to students. Again, I want to thank you for joining us. We're doing the virtual business after hours with Texana Bank. We've had a wonderful evening here, gotten to know their leaders, gotten to know more about the products and the personal experience that they provide for their customers. So thank you for joining us and learning about that and taking that quick break. And I believe we have Colt here. Hey, Colt.
I'm back.
I understand, sir, that you've got a special message for the students.
Yeah, I do know, I kind of alluded to this earlier. I grew up in the household with an educator. My grandfather was a coach for a number of years. And so I don't want students that aren't involved in extracurriculars to think that this school year is not equally as important to them. And so just wanted to encourage everyone that whether you are going to school or doing some distance learning or just trust that the people that are preparing these lessons plans for you, the amount of hours that they put in to that is extensive. You may never see it, but know they're working really hard because they want to make this in a kind of a really weird time. They want to make it as normal as possible, and they are putting in a lot of work. I've got friends that are educators, I've got friends that are coaches, I've got friends that are administrators, and so I know the amount of work that's being put into this, and it's a lot. And so if you get the chance to encourage your teachers, encourage your coaches, just tell them thank you. I know they would love to hear that from you. And so this is going to be a different year, one that you'll talk about for the rest of your life. I had things in my academic career that I remember from when I was little, and this is going to stick out for a lot of students. So make the best of it, and here's to a really good year.
Excellent. Great words. And yeah, I think everybody could use a little bit of that right now. Yeah. Well done.
Yeah. Thank you.
Cole, thank you so much for having us here and invading your bank.
No, we definitely appreciate it. Hope that you've learned a little bit about the bank. Hope that you've learned a little bit about us and the chamber. And so I believe that all three of those are good things.